Halito everybody, Jessie here with Choctaw Clover. I thought I would do a video on doing a Picot edge on these earrings like this. It's been a while. I know I've done one before, but I thought I would do one again. I know my niece Libby watches these sometimes, so hello if you're watching. So again, I do all my edging usually when I remember with a size 0 thread, Nymo, because it has to pass back through this outer edge, and it's going to be your most crowded pass of like all your beadwork, because you've already gone through when you did your regular beading, and then when you finished it off, you know, with a loop of thread, and then you're going to go back through at the end with another loop. And so I just use 00. I don't condition it because I don't like when the thread conditioner kind of balls up and it can get between your beads and it's kind of hard to remove. So I just have that thread. I have about an arm's length. Thread it through my needle there. And then to start it off, I want to make sure you can see this. Maybe if I move the camera a little bit closer. It seemed a little far away. Is that better? So I have these earrings here that I made. Focus. With check pressed glass beads in the center. They're backed with buckskin. They have check beads around the edge. So you want to start a little off to the center, and you start at the front and you pull it through until you've got about, I don't know, 6-8 inches or so. And then you tie it off once, and then I'm going to do 2 surgeon's knots. So that's when you wrap it around and then you wrap it around again. Sorry, it's weird doing this all in frame. Normally I do it really close to my face. Got it once and twice. So I've got it tied securely there. I'm going to keep the end in this hand, and I'm going to choose a thin beading needle. I don't know if you can, it's not even in focus. But so take your second needle, thread that short end into it. I'm going to come in right next to where I was, under the thread of the second row, and pull it through, and then just weave it through for a couple of inches. If you know, can see what you're doing. You just want to make sure that that thread there is secure and isn't going to come out. You can go all the way around. It just depends on how much thread you left and how big your piece is. Okay. keeping a hold of that edge, that short edge that you just wove through. I'm going to grab my thread zap, pull that edge tight, and there you go. So here's your piece. Jumping out of your hands. So you're going to turn it to the back where you have your thread coming out, and grab your first needle, and you're going to pick up one of your bigger beads, one of your small seed beads, and then another of the big ones. And this is what you grab for the first round, or for the first stitch that you do. And you come in on the other side. You come in on the other side about 2 beads worth in, and you pull it through, and you come up through the second large bead. So you're always going to come up through that large bead. So that's what it looks like. Okay? So then when you go, sorry, all this stuff here, to your next round, and every round until you get to the end, you're going to pick up a seed bead, just one, and one of your rounds, or whatever you're edging with, and you're going to come in through the front, underneath your outside thread. So you're going to come in underneath there, come through both layers of underneath the thread, through the foundation, and through the backing, and then pull it tight, come up through the big bead, and there you go. So this is what you're creating, that edge. It's going to look like this when you're done. Okay? But I always work from the back for whatever reason. I know there are people who work through the front. I like to work from the back. So I'm trying not to hit the phone holder. I can see it bouncing. But so, again, you're going to go through both of those layers, come through, come up the outside, come up through your big bead. So you pick up a little one, a big one, you move over, you know, on the front, you're going under that outside thread, and you're making sure your thread rests in between these beads here. So just go slow and make sure that your thread is laying where you want it to. So like you can see here, see how the thread goes in between those beads. Okay? Little, big, scooch it on over. You're coming through the back, and then you're coming back up through the big one, and only the big one. Okay? And then you just do this all the way around. So hopefully you see what I'm doing there. Trying to stay in frame like always. It's difficult. Usually I pull the beads closer to my face so I can see what I'm doing. I don't normally work over my table like this. So it's February now. It's just Valentine's Day a couple of days ago. It got cold again. It was kind of warm. We had a like 170-degree day, and then now it's back to temps in the low 60s. I think it's going to be in the 50s in a couple of days. Our nights have been really cold. I closed all my windows again, so thankfully my dogs are asleep right now. I know in my last video they started barking. So, I don't know. The big one is snoring. I don't know if the camera is picking that up or not, but she's snoring away, which is much better than barking. Sorry, I'm doing this and I'm trying like to not touch the camera holder, to not bump the table, to not move too much in this squeaky chair. Like, it's definitely not like the normal set of circumstances when you're generally beading. But I want anybody who needs this to see this, and I want Livy to see it, so. How are you guys doing out there? Is it still cold where you are? Or is it warming up? Spring is definitely on the way here, but it just got cold again. See, that time it kind of went through the top. I had to go back and make sure that it went through both layers completely. Both layers being the foundation and the backing. And so you can see here, so I use white foundation, Helen 72F, which is the double-sided fusible interfacing, as beading foundation, but I colored it green to kind of like as close as I could get to matching the beads. And so that way I don't have white foundation poking through. Like, so you'll see less of it, like it'll blend in better. I used to get like black beading foundation from Beading. I don't really like the regular beading foundation, like it's not stiff enough for my liking. I really love this Helen 72F. I always buy it when it's on sale, 50% off at Joann's. But it, as far as I can tell, it only comes in white. But I've started coloring it in like before I start my beadwork, and then doing this edge once I finish. Hair. And it's really, I think it makes a difference like in your finished product. And what I color it in with, I just have like a set of Sharpies that I got during like back to school time, and I can usually match it pretty well with one of those colors. Match what I'm doing, you know. Of course, black is the easiest, but as you can see, like I did it with green too. And at first I was coloring in just the edge that showed after I put my backing on, but then I had one kind of bleed, the color bled onto the backing. And so I color this in before I put the backing on. I trim away the excess foundation, and then I color it in and I let it dry, and then I put the backing on. Okay. So I'll show that process to you guys in an upcoming video. Kind of walk you through the whole process. Because I saw another beater do it, the backing, like just the edge, like after the backing had been put on. And I did that for a while, but then I had that one bleed, and so now it's the in-between process. It's before the backing gets put on. So again, this is a Picot edge, P-I-C-O-T. You know, and there's of course different kind of ways to finish your beadwork, to edge them. This is just my favorite. I like the way it looks. It goes pretty quickly, and it's kind of flashy, kind of pizzazz, you know. And make sure that your thread lays in between the beads where you want it to go, not too far off to the edge, you know. So, and these are 3mm faceted rounds that I'm edging with. Preciosa, Preciosa, however you say it, the check glass beads. So we're coming up to the end here. I think I've got space for 2 more of the rounds. Yep, space for 1 more there. My seed bead, pick up my round, come in here, kind of in the middle, make sure I'm going under this outside thread and through both layers. And then make sure that your thread, everything lays the way it's supposed to. And so on this last one, I'm going to come up through that last round that I just laid down. But now I'm at the end, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bridge this gap here with 1 seed bead. And I'm going to come down through the first bead that I started the edging with. So I have a seed bead there. And I'm going to come down, and here's what I do is I go, oh look, there's my dog. Show stealer. She's so loud. So I come down through the backing just a little bit, and then keep track of where you were, because I'm going to come up through that backing and up through the last bead that I put on. My dog is she's dreaming right now, and she's like growling and barking in her sleep. So okay, so now we came up through that edge, through that last edging bead, and I'm gonna go through here, gonna come down, and we're just gonna come up until we get to the right spot to where we're gonna put our loop for our earring hook, which is this top part here. And so that's about right. That's coming out of this bead here, and I want it around this center, this petal. So it's going to come up, so we're going to flip it over, and we're going to pick up 8 beads. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have 8 beads on my needle, and I'm just going to come down through the next round there, faceted round, large bead, And I'm going to go through this 2 or 3 times to secure it. Now I know that there are people out there that use thread protectors. I just haven't. I never have. This is how I was taught to do stuff. I might look into getting some, but for right now, we just make loops with beads. So there's one. I think we'll go one more time here, and that'll be a total of like 4 passes through this top loop, including the first one when we laid the beads down. And then you're just going to go through and weave it into these for a few to make sure it's secure. I know there are people who just like tie it off at the back, like they'll sew it through and tie it off. I don't do that. I weave it through, and then I go through and I weave it back into the main piece, and that's how I finish it off. Okay, so I came down through this one. I'm going to go back, so you're making kind of like a square. But then, so what I'm going to do here is I took this needle off. I'm going to cut off a lot of this excess. I've got my thread here. I'm going to pick up a thin beading needle again, like we did at the beginning when we wove in our sewing thread. Okay, so then I'm going to flip it over to the front. I have it coming out of this green seed bead here. I'm going to come down into the next one and go under the thread, under that first thread, just right there. And then I'm going to weave this ending thread through this outer ring of beads at least one time completely. That's why I use the thinner thread and the thinner needle, because it's already pretty full at this point, but this fits. So you're just going to come through. And we came in, I think, around here. So that's, make sure your thread stays where you want it to be, that it's not caught on any of the other beads. You don't have any like weird loops of thread hanging out. I'm gonna go a little bit more. So we've gone through one time completely. And that's what you want to make sure you just get it through one time complete. I think I can keep going though, and maybe do twice. Sometimes you can't do it twice. Sometimes, you know, it's a struggle just to get that one. It just depends on the bead and the size of your thread. Some beads, even though they say they're 11s, like they have really small openings and it's hard to get things through. I just had a pair like that where I made sure to edge them with a different bead because... All right, so that's twice. Let's I like to always finish it off at the bottom if I can. Yeah, I've got the other dog is dreaming and like barking in her sleep, so sweet babies. So I've got this thread here and my thread zap, and I'm gonna pull it tight, and zap that thread. So here's the pair of earrings. I'm not sure what hooks I'm going to put them on. Let me see if I can find some quickly. I think I might do copper. That'll kind of... I know I don't want to do silver. I've got kind of a coppery bronze element going on here. So... this is a French ear wire with the ball and coil. It's got the loop here. This one is on the front. I'm going to take my flat nose pliers and just kind of bend that loop a little bit back. And since they face the front, you're going to put this on like that. And then just close that loop up. And make sure they're facing the right way. That's the one thing. Most of these, the coils go to the inside, and so you put them on the other way. But these ones are out on the outer edge. So I'm going to put my earring on there. Let's see. Kind of in the center. I'm kind of holding this ball and coil up, making sure they're out of my way. Closing that loop, and there you go. They're done. That's how you do a picot edge. That's how you attach ball and coil ear wires. Like if your earrings ever come off whatever wires they're on, like it's usually pretty easy. You just need a pair of flat nose pliers to reattach them. You know, it just takes seconds. So there you go. All right. Probably add this one to the Beading Chat playlist. Check it out. If you're interested in what I'm doing here, you know, you learned something, hit the like button, subscribe. That really helps. I'm trying to get up to that 1,000 follower mark. So every subscriber at this point helps. Thank you so much, and I will see you again soon. See you later. Bye.